Why, hello everyone, how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge, in particular, a stealth survival challenge. I've never done that before. That's new. Isn't that crazy? Not every survival challenge has to be about who punches the other dude the hardest. We can vary it up, we can do different things. That's fun, right? So if you're a big fan of Persona 5, you may have read the title of this video and started watching this with your arms folded, your eyes rolled, and be like, this is bullshit. Ain't none of these characters gonna be able to get through this palace. The Persona/SMT universe are way too powerful for any of these characters to deal with. Yes, I know that's true. However, SMT and Persona are not stealth games. They are JRPGs with kinda, sorta, slight, some stealth elements. Like the Phantom Thieves are not good at stealth. This is made pretty clear in the game. I mean, Persona 5 literally opens by Joker at his absolute most powerful and most skilled towards the end of the game, being caught by the police after trying to break into like a casino or a party or something. I forgot what it was. It might be a ball. It was a ball. Whatever. Some fancy fucking event. Stealth is sort of in the game, kind of. But when you go to break into these palaces, you're basically caught immediately in the story. Like, it's not gameplay. All of the bosses of the palaces instantly see you right when you start, and they're aware you're there from the very start. And it's actually not possible to get through these palaces without being seen and having to fight people. In fact, the game actually punishes you for doing that, because if you do, you don't get the experience that you need and you won't have the abilities to fight the bosses who are not skippable. The game is not about stealth. It's actually more about fighting personas and collecting them, almost like Pokemon. So in this hypothetical scenario, I'm actually removing the Phantom Thieves from the story completely and replacing them with master stealth experts to see if these experts could possibly get all the way to the center of the palaces and steal the treasure without actually even being seen. Or at the very least, getting to the end without getting caught and murdered by the bosses and all of the giant fucked up monster people. Now, I do have to kind of go against some of my rules, which is basically that I have to change the lore and the rules of how the Persona universe works to even make this happen. Because in Persona 5, the palaces are in a totally different conceptual universe, and you can only actually get there if you have a persona, and none of these characters I'm throwing in there have a persona, so they shouldn't even be able to see this universe at all. But I don't care, it's a hypothetical. I want to see if they can fucking make it into the palaces without getting killed, okay? It's not that big of a deal. This is normally the part where I go over the challenge and talk about all the different characters that they'll interact with, and all the different monsters and creatures, and how powerful they are, what they can do, and all that. None of that matters for this video. The fact of the matter is that not a single stealth expert that is on this list is going to be able to fight any of the monsters, persona, whatever you want to call them, within Persona 5. You have creatures in this game who can casually destroy the universe. They're on a totally different level of power. It's not even close. The creatures that these stealth experts are going to come into contact with will not even be able to be stealth killed by them. They are too physically durable. There's literally nothing they can do but not be seen and make it to the end and steal the treasure inside the palace before they're seen. That's it. Not a particularly complicated challenge. And if you enjoy the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, if you join the membership, you get videos early. But I'm wasting up your time. Let's get started. First up on the chopping block, we have Sam Fischer from the Splinter Cell series. Originally, I was going to put Agent 47 on here from Hitman because I like Agent 47 and I've used him before and I enjoy him. But I very, very quickly realized that Agent 47's method of stealth, which is to knock people out, steal their clothes, and then poses them sort of blending into the background of crowds, is not in any way going to work here. Because all of the guards and all the palaces are fucking crazy ass shadow monster beings. Like, what's he gonna do? Run into Lucifer, the 8-winged demon? Knock him out and pose as Lucifer, the 8-winged demon? That's not gonna happen. So his method of stealth is completely fucking worthless here. And because of that, he'll die immediately. Sam Fischer, on the other hand, his main technique of stealth is to not be seen, which in this particular scenario is a much better technique to use. So the question becomes, how will Sam Fischer do in this universe? Not very well. The fact of the matter is that Sam Fischer is a regular dude. He's a human being with no superhuman stealth powers or abilities. His main method of stealth is to hide behind shit, shoot cameras, use little EMP bursts to take out tech that's going to sense him and things like that. It's pretty basic shit. Just stay out of people's eye line and use the shadows as your friend. The problem here is the layout of a lot of these palaces are not set up to be very stealth friendly. They're mostly very bright and well lit and don't have a lot of ways to sneak around people that a normal dude without any crazy powers can utilize properly. Like, there are several instances in this game where you have to walk down a massive straight hallway with very sheer walls that are not going to be able to be climbed by normal people. And you've got like 3 or 4 guards just walking back and forth in that area. What the fuck is Sam Fischer gonna do? His gun is worthless. There's no way to walk through that hallway and not be seen without any sort of crazy superpowers. I mean, you can argue something like he would sneak in the ventilation or something, but are we even 100% sure that all of these palaces have ventilation? It's in an alternate universe with a bunch of conceptual beings that don't really exist. Why would they even need oxygen? I'm sure there'll be certain pathways he can get through like that, like little small openings to get around in situations, because that exists in Persona 5 as well, but it's not very common. And while they're not the most skilled stealth experts, they're a lot faster and more maneuverable than someone like Sam Fischer. They can still dash from cover to cover near instantly to the point that you can't even see him fucking moving. Sam Fisher's just like a dude. If he has to get from one point of cover to another point of cover, he's got to like normal speed walk there. It's just not really gonna work out for him very well. He doesn't even have anything to fall back on if any of these creatures see him. What's he gonna do, fucking shoot them? The bullets are gonna bounce off their flesh. They're not gonna care about that. Even if I give him the same rules that the Persona characters have, because in this sort of alternate cognitive world that they're going to, where the palaces are, the way that they view things is the way it works. So they actually all have fake guns and fake weapons. But when they're in this cognitive world, they believe that these weapons can do damage, so these weapons actually start firing and doing real damage. So let's say that it works the same way for Sam Fischer, and even though his guns would normally not hurt these creatures, because he is cognitively believing that they will hurt them, suddenly his guns will start hurting them. Doesn't really matter. They're still weak as fuck. Even for the Phantom Thieves, their guns do basically no damage to these guys. It does a little bit, but not a whole lot. And unlike them, Sam Fisher's gonna die in a single hit. Not to mention, these characters are considerably faster than Sam Fischer is. There isn't a single character in this game that can't dodge light. Sam's only method of survival is to not get seen, and maybe that's possible if he's going through one palace, but he's going through every single palace that exists within Persona 5, which there's like, what, 7, 8? There's a lot. And these things are fucking massive. The odds of him getting through this entire game without ever being seen once, not happening. No, he's gonna fucking die. Next up, we have Ryo from Aragami. Ryo in Aragami is an Aragami. He was a really famous, proud, amazing general before he died, and then was brought to life by this cunt. And he didn't have any memories, so the cunt was like, hey, go fight against your own people and assassinate and murder all the people that you used to care about, because I'm a cunt, and I'm telling you to do that, and you don't know any better. And then after you do that, you find out that those were the people that you cared about, and she, being a cunt that she is, turned on you and then tried to kill you as well, and then you have to kill the cunt. This video is definitely getting demonetized. But as Aragami, Ryo has all sorts of crazy, awesome powers. As long as he's standing in a shadow, he's completely invisible. He can teleport wherever he is to any location where there is a shadow, and most damning, he can create shadows where there aren't any. Which you would think breaks the whole game, but there is like a rule to it. He can't create shadows where there's just direct light. Like, you can't go out on a sunny day on the fucking hot blacktop and just create a shadow there. There has to be like indirect light or something there for you to create a shadow, and then you can teleport there. It's gotta be like kind of light, not super light. You know, I don't know what the percentage is. Like, does it have to have this amount of light, or it's not that clear? It's just, it's gotta have something. He also has this shadow raven creature with him that flies around and could look at the environment and tell him things like where enemies are, where he can go, certain shortcuts to his location. He could see out of the raven's eyes to see the environment around him, so he can properly plan out what his route is going to be. And that's about it. The first Aragami is a pretty simple stealth game. There is an Aragami 2, but you don't play as Ryo. It takes place hundreds of years in the future. You play as a totally different character. So whatever powers or whatever you get in that game, I don't know about them. I didn't play it. But in Aragami 1, these are the powers. This is what he can do. Now, how does Ryo do in Persona 5? He should do a lot better than Sam Fischer. In terms of physical ability, he's not really shown to have any sort of superhuman abilities. So it's not like he's gonna be able to fight all the personas and monsters and shit that he comes across. But for obvious reason, his stealth abilities are far superior. Being able to create shadows and then teleport directly into those shadows is a pretty cool, pretty busted power. But the problem is that all of his stealth abilities are very required on there being darkness in the first place, and not all these palaces really have a lot of dark spots. A lot of them are in very large, well-lit areas, and this wouldn't be much of an issue because there isn't really that many locations where there's absolutely no shadows. His teleportation to shadows power is reliant on him being able to see where those shadows are. So again, with Sam Fischer, if he's in the long hallway area, and that long hallway area, it has light in it, his powers are basically useless. He has literally no way of getting around those people. And this is an issue that he's going to run into quite a few times. Not necessarily in the first palace, not necessarily in the second or third, but he is undoubtedly not making it through every single palace. Especially considering that even though he's a spirit, I mean, if he dies, he still fucking dies. Like, he's not an infinitely resurrecting spirit. You can kill him through just physical damage, and if he's physically damaged by the creatures in the Persona world, he's being damaged by, like, you know, universe-busting levels of power. So, he's dead. So yes, absolutely getting farther than Sam Fischer, but I don't see him getting all the way, mainly, again, because his power is too reliant on shadows, and he will not always have the options of just having an abundance of shadows to use his powers on. Now, to be fair, he can use a lot of these powers outside of just shadows, like he has an ability called Kage, which makes him invisible even if he's in the light. The problem is that all these powers are fueled by something called Shadow Essence. He can only get Shadow Essence if there are shadows around, and using these powers burn through that Shadow Essence very, very quickly. So you're talking about like a couple seconds of invisibility, maybe. If there's ever a point going through these palaces where he has to go through a long section without any shadows, he's fucked. He won't be able to use any of his powers, and he becomes worse at stealth than even Sam Fischer. So yeah, sucks to be Rio, but his power is far too situational. Next up, we have Sly Cooper from Happy Tree Friend. That should be my next survival challenge. I should just take a bunch of like cute animated characters from different little like innocent shows and just chuck them into fucking Happy Tree Friends and see if they'll survive. Probably not would be the answer to that question. Oh shit, no, I should take the Happy Tree Friends characters and throw them into Cult of the Lamb. Like that soldier dude who keeps murdering people because he's got fucking PTSD from war. That would actually be really cool. I might do that. I don't know. I'll think about it. Anyway, if you've never played Sly Cooper, I'm sorry your fucking childhood sucked. Sly Cooper's awesome. You play as Sly, an anamorphic raccoon who's a member of the Cooper family that for as long as time has existed, the Coopers were master thieves, who focuses on stealing specifically from criminals, not because they're good guys in any way, but just because it's more challenging and more fun to steal from criminals. And throughout the generations, every member of the Cooper family would go through their entire history of thieving and put all the cool shit they learned in this book called The Thievius Raccoonus. This happened over generation, and because of this, every single next Cooper is a more skilled thief than the previous Cooper because they have all the information of past Coopers and all the shit that they've done. Well, anyway, one day when Sly Cooper was a little child raccoon boy, his house was attacked by a group of villains known as the Fiendish Five. They murdered his whole family and stole the book, The Thievius Raccoonus, and ripped it into a bunch of pieces and then scattered across the whole world. Sly was orphaned and he was put into an orphanage where he met two friends who eventually become his partners in crime as he grows up to become a master thief. When Sly becomes old enough, he decides to go after the Fiendish Five, steal the Thievius Raccoonus back with the goal of returning his family to its rightful glory or die, and that just become the end of the Cooper bloodline. Some pretty hardcore shit actually for what is essentially a child's game. So how would Sly Cooper do in the Persona 5 universe if he had to sneak into the palaces and steal the treasures? Well, he'd do a hell of a lot better than Sam Fischer because unlike Sam Fischer, Sly Cooper is actually a superhuman level thief. He's capable of climbing things that no human could possibly climb. He's strong enough to smash a fucking small safe into pieces with a couple of hits. If you know how durable those little safes are, you know how impressive that is. I mean, you could chuck a grenade at those things and it ain't opening up. He does, however, have trouble opening larger, more heavy-duty safes, so that's kind of where his strength level lies. He's so strong that he fights dudes who are like 3-4 times the weight that he is, and he hits them so fucking hard, they go flying like 15-20 feet back. You know, people don't really talk about this game for its combat. It's not really what people remember, but they forget, like, it was insanely satisfying to hit people in this game. Like, it's not like you just hit someone and they fell over. When you hit them, you hit the fuck out of them. They went flying, and the sound effect was awesome. Like, it felt good to hit people. Am I alone in that? I feel like I'm not alone in that. In terms of powers and abilities, he has a lot of really useful ones. He has all kinds of different gadgets that allow him to do all kinds of different stuff. He can stun people, he can put them to sleep, things like that. He has this really weird power where he could stand on shit that you otherwise wouldn't be able to stand on. He's capable of standing on lasers and walking across them, or even fucking sound waves. It's a very strange power, and I don't know if it'll be all that useful here, but it's cool and weird, so I figured I'd mention it. I don't think I've ever seen a power like this anywhere else, but honestly, none of that matters. Like, I don't think being able to put people to sleep is really going to help him all that much, because a lot of these characters are resistant to that anyway. Really, the main powers that are going to be the absolute best things for him is, one, his mobility. That's important. Not really a power, but whatever. But the two that are powers are, he has time control abilities. He doesn't have the really good one, like he can't go back in time. That's the one everybody wants, but he can slow it down and speed it up. These powers aren't exactly as useful as they sound, as his slow down time and speed up time ability affects him as well as the world around him. So when he slows down time, he can kind of perceive time as being slower, but he is also slowed. They even say in the game the speed up power is really only used on stakeout, so they don't have to wait as long. Like, he literally only uses it when he's impatient. It's not like he can use it to blitz all its fucking enemies or anything like that. And yes, I'm aware that Thieves in Time introduced a bunch of other time travel abilities that he gets in that game. But here's the thing about that. Thieves in Time never fucking happened. Is there a single person who likes Sly Cooper games that considers Thieves in Time canon to the overall story? Sly Cooper is a trilogy. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it ended with honor among thieves. I feel like I don't have to justify that because I think most people are probably on the same page with me on that one. And lastly, and probably the most important thing, he has the ability to turn invisible. That's basically a death sentence for the Persona 5 universe. There isn't anything here that can see invisible creatures. Like, you have Joker, who does have the ability to sense people through walls. He can sense where they are and what they're doing. But the enemies don't really have that power, and would that power work on an enemy that is invisible and isn't making any noise? There's really no evidence that it would. So when it really comes down to it, Sly is a stealth expert and master thief who is silent and visible and has superhuman mobility options. Will he survive and get all the way through Persona 5 unscathed? Yeah, probably. I think that's very possible. I mean, just the fact that he can turn invisible and climb makes it pretty easy that he'll get through. Now, Sly does have one major weakness, which is that in the first game, Sly basically did everything on his own for the most part, with some assistance from Bentley and Murray. By the time Sly 2 and 3 roll around, he has a whole team of people helping him, and they make it very clear. In fact, it's an ongoing theme of the series that he can't do it on his own, and he absolutely has to have these people with him so he can succeed with his goals. Basically, by the time you get around to Sly 3, they make a pretty hard emphasis on the fact that the only things that Sly is good at is stealth, pickpocketing, and acrobatics, and basically any other skill at all, he needs somebody else. Like, for instance, if he has to hack into anything to open doors or things like that. In Persona 5, Joker has Futaba to help him with all the hacking and technological know-how that he needs in order to get through the levels. So if we give Sly Bentley, he will also be able to do this. But without Bentley, no. He's gonna run into a wall whenever he gets to a situation where he needs a tech expert in order to get through it. Most of the other characters on this list don't really need that in the same way. Like, Aragami has teleportation, so he can just get on the other side of the door. It wouldn't really be that hard, but Sly isn't a ghost shadow being that can do that. So yeah, basically what's going to boil down to is if Sly has Bentley, he can do it. If he doesn't have Bentley, he is going to run into issues with the whole technological retardation. Last up, but certainly not least, we have Thane Krios, or Kasumi from the Mass Effect series. In all honesty, it should be Kasumi, because Kasumi in the Mass Effect universe is actually a thief and is the greatest stealth expert in the entire galaxy, whereas Thane is an extremely skilled expert at stealth and is an assassin. Just in terms of thematics, Kasumi matches the challenge more. But I like Thane better. I don't really give a fuck about Kasumi. She's a goddamn DLC character. A lot of people play this game, didn't even meet Kasumi. You can't even really interact with Kasumi outside of her main mission. If you go and talk to her, you can't enter conversations with her. Because again, she's a DLC character, and she fucking feels like it. There's stuff that feels like it's missing from her when you're playing the game. Thane's better. So I'm about to make the whole concept of this list fucking fall apart, but yeah, they both make it. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't even need a tech expert. In the Mass Effect universe, all you need is an Omni tool and you can hack into a door. In the Mass Effect universe, anyone with an Omni tool is capable of hacking into a door. That's like the only thing that Persona 5 palaces have going for them. In fact, any character that has any form of invisibility or like heightened technological camouflage would make it through this challenge super, super easily. Whether you're talking about Adam Jensen from Deus Ex or fucking Harry Potter with the invisibility cloak, literally anyone with invisibility is getting through this challenge, except for Predator, because his camo fucking sucks. I mean, come on, be honest with yourself. Have you ever seen a Predator movie where you've seen Predator turn camo and weren't instantly like, yeah, there's a Predator right there? Like, look at him. Like, the shit behind you looks all fucking distorted. You're obviously standing there. They're so easy to see. I know, like, in lore, it's supposed to say that you can't see them if they're holding still, only when they're moving. Like, they're really hard to see when they're still. But I've seen all the movies. You can see them standing still. The tree behind you looks like a pretentious art piece. You're not sneaking by anybody with that. Get better camo shit, Predators. All right, so let me just quickly walk you through the process that I went through when it came to making this video. And really just making any video I've ever made ever. Last night I saw they had the entire Sly Cooper series for free on PSN. I was like, oh, that's crazy. I haven't played Sly Cooper since I was a kid. I want to fucking play Sly Cooper again. I'm gonna download the first one. So I downloaded the first Sly Cooper, I started playing it for a couple hours, I went to bed. I wake up this morning still thinking about Sly Cooper, being like, I want to play more Sly Cooper, but you know, I gotta make a video, so what am I gonna make? Okay, let's talk about Sly Cooper. So let's just come up with some bullshit as an excuse to put Sly Cooper in it so I can talk about Sly Cooper because I'm still thinking about Sly Cooper. So what's it gonna be? Okay, well, he's a stealth dude, let's do a fucking stealth challenge. Where are we gonna put him? I don't know, doesn't matter. What's a place where you gotta break into a thing and steal some shit? Fucking Persona? Sure, let's do it. Who else should be on the list? I don't know. Let's just fucking a bunch of random stealth characters that you know from other shit. The only real rule around that is that I had to have played the game, read the comic, watched the movie, whatever the character is from. Otherwise, I can't use the character. It has to be something that I've actually experienced myself. All right, so let's throw all them in there. Now they're in there. Now let's just start fucking filming and talking and saying random shit that I think. And then as I start recording and saying the things, I realized during the Sly Cooper section that I forgot he could turn invisible. So does Persona 5 have any invisibility shit that they can like go against? No, they don't. They can't do anything. So they fucking immediately lose, which completely makes the whole goddamn list fall apart because half these fucking characters have invisibility powers. And that, my friend, is how you get over 3 million views and 25,000 subscribers in the last 7 months. There you go. We cracked the code, guys. In all seriousness, though, I kind of came to the conclusion that if you don't have invisibility, you're probably going to die. If you do have invisibility, you will absolutely 100% make it through because they literally have nothing against it to stop you. To drive this point home even more, in Persona 5 Royal, they introduce a new item called Invisibility Veil. This is not in the base game, and the description of the item says that it makes you invisible to any being with low willpower. This item completely breaks the fucking game. And this is a form of invisibility that has a very clear limitation, ergo willpower, that no other invisibility of any of the characters on this list have. It doesn't matter how high your willpower is, you're not going to be able to see Sly Cooper. This is the only form of invisibility that exists within Persona 5, which means there is no character throughout the entire game that has the ability to see invisible characters, which means they can't possibly stop these characters from coming in and stealing all their shit. I mean, it doesn't matter who I put in here. I could put in, you know, Styx from Of Orcs and Men. Does Styx ever get invisibility? The answer is yes. Guess what? He makes it through. If the answer is no, he fucking dies. That's really as simple as this challenge is. Super fucking simple. And if you want a part 2 to this shitty challenge, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, to join the membership, you get videos early. And always remember, y'all stay safe out there. You hear?